What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oscar De La Hoya. As I promised, I told you guys that I was going to give you a breakdown of Oscar De La Hoya's reaction on how is it like to feel, to know that you have a first Mexican-American champion, okay? Now, he said this is the first time I've actually yelled that loud or screamed or whatever, however you want to say it. You know, he was yelling at the top of his voice. He was ecstatic. He was like Julio Cesar Chavez and the rest of those cats. And he said something that I want to share with you guys. He reached out to Andy Ruiz and told him, like, hey, this is an awesome opportunity. And no one ever has ever been where you're at. But it does not stop there. You're at the top. The thing is maintaining where you are. So this journey just begins for both guys, people. Okay? Andy Ruiz just took the torch, okay? Took the straps from Anthony Joshua. Now it's time for him. His journey begins just like Anthony Joshua's journey begins. A lot of people think, oh, it's his journey time to end. That's to be determined. But we know something about Andy Ruiz. This journey for him being champion, his reign has just began. Okay? So the whole thing is now, like Oscar De La Hoya explained to him, is maintaining. Okay? Maintaining the championship status. That's going to be the question. And Oscar De La Hoya said something brilliant, and I got to share it with you guys. He said that that's what you get when you're a fighter that takes risk. You didn't really care about the money. You weren't really thinking about the financial side as much as the legacy side. That's what Andy Ruiz was doing. That's why I take my hat off to Andy Ruiz. That's why I'm not wearing a hat. You know what I'm saying? Because I had to take my hat off to the man, because this particular guy didn't worry about, oh, you know what? You're offering $6 million. How about giving me 10? That's the shit that Anthony Joshua was getting pissed off about, because he knows these fighters. Your last fight purse was $300,000 or $500,000. You know what I'm saying? Or you even broke a M yet. But then someone offers you 10 times the amount of money you ever made, and the first thing you can think about is, oh, I want more. The spirit of greed hits your spirit realm. You know what I'm saying? So Andy Ruiz took the leap of faith, did what he's supposed to do, took those belts from Anthony Joshua, and he did it by taking a risk, okay? Like other fighters did not have the cojones to do. You know, they were worried too much about greed or getting beat or their own legacy or whatever. They did not want to do what Andy Ruiz did. That's why Andy Ruiz needs 100% credit, and there's not enough people giving him credit for this victory, okay? It's not. That guy did what he's supposed to do. He did his job, you know, he followed his game plan, and he was successful. And I can't say it enough. But Oscar De La Hoya is absolutely right. It's about taking risk if you want to be great. If you want to dare to be great, that's what you do. Okay? And speaking of Oscar De La Hoya, let me give you guys a little history lesson about Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya fought more top 10 fighters than anyone, any welterweight or super welterweight or any middleweight has done to this day. Probably Canelo probably has done that. Maybe. He comes close. But he's just one dude compared to a throwback fighter like Oscar De La Hoya. Okay? This guy fought Ike Corte, Obakar, Felix Trinidad took his first L. Sugar Shane Mosley took his second L in a hell of a fight. Fernando Vargas, Bernard Hopkins, Ricardo Mayorga. He fought everyone, almost, okay? But the guy has a record, and it wasn't because Floyd Mayweather, another guy, had a split decision, lost to this guy, controversial. Come on now. Now, this is a guy, an all-time great. So he knows the business. He knows what it's like to take risk, because people did that if they wanted to be great. You know, these fighters don't want to be great these days. They've been spoiled. They've been a lot of things. Pampered, you know, been taught the wrong doctrine, the way that, on a certain, they've been exploited and being educated on the business side instead of the legacy side, you know? And back to De La Hoya, that's why he's given Andy Ruiz all this credit, simply because Andy Ruiz was able to do something that he used to do once upon a time, and that's dare to be great. So, again, congratulations, Andy Ruiz. You guys tell me what you think about Oscar De La Hoya's comments. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunched. Peace.